Good morning, students. I welcome you to a new class in physics today, children. In the previous class, we studied about plane mirrors and two cases. That is when two plane mirrors were placed parallel to each other, and when two plane mirrors were placed perpendicular to each other. We studied the number of images formed in them. In today's class, children, we will focus on the topic spherical mirrors. Now, to begin with, let us look at what are spherical mirrors and how are they formed. Okay, children? Now, see, the meaning of the word spherical means a sphere. You can see I have drawn a sphere and I have cut the two edges of the sphere. You can see this is a hollow glass sphere, children. This is a hollow glass sphere. Okay, and what have I done in this? I have cut the two edges of this particular hollow glass sphere. When I cut the two edges, I get curved surfaces like this. Okay, now once I get the curved glass surfaces, I decide where should I polish, which surface should be polished. Okay, suppose if I polish the bulge, the outer bulge is polished, and in the second case, the inner curve of the mirror is of the glass surface is polished. Now, when the outer bulge is polished, the inner side is the reflecting side. You know, this is known as the reflecting surface. I have already told you this thing, children. I told you that when you are, the reflecting surface is always opposite to the polished surface. Okay, so this is the polished surface, children, while the surface opposite to it is the reflecting surface. And similarly here, this is the reflecting surface, and you can see that the inner surface is the polished surface, right? So, once again, this is a hollow glass sphere. I have cut out the two edges. This is one edge, this is the other edge. I decide to polish the outer side, that is the bulged surface of the sphere, and the inner is reflecting. And in this case, I decide to polish the inner curve of the mirror, I mean to say the glass surface, and the outer one is reflecting. So remember, this type of mirror in which the outer surface is polished and the inner is reflecting is known as a concave mirror. Children, this is known as a concave mirror. While this one, in which the inner is polished and the outer is reflecting, is said to be a convex mirror. You have to be very, very clear with this. When the outer surface or the outer bulge is polished, it is known as a concave mirror, and when the inner surface is polished, that is known as a convex mirror. And children, I have also brought these two mirrors with me. I want you to have a look. You can see one mirror, this mirror is a convex mirror, while this is a concave. They more or less look similar to each other. But you know, I am holding them in my hand and I am observing my image in both. Now, when I observe my image in both these mirrors, in one of the mirrors, my image is smaller in size and very clear. Okay, while in the other one, when I place it very close, my image is magnified. It is highly magnified when I place it close, and as I take this mirror away, the image gets inverted. So this type of a mirror is known as a concave mirror, where the image is highly magnified when I keep it close to my face. While in this case, when the image is smaller in size and it is clear, absolutely clear to me, it's not blurred at all, that is known as a convex mirror, children. Okay, so these are the two mirrors. You can see one side, they are, this particular side is actually polished. You know, this side is silvered, and over that we have a paint so that there are no scratches, and this is the reflecting surface of the mirror. So one side is reflecting, children, and the other side is polished. So these are the two mirrors. Now, children, I told you these are known as spherical mirrors. These are known as spherical mirrors because they are cut out from the sphere, from a hollow glass sphere. Okay, now a comparison can be asked between the two. What is the comparison between the two? I will take up point wise one by one, and I want you to listen to it carefully, children. The first one, that is concave, you will say that the outer surface is polished. the inner surface is polished. Then the second point would be the inner surface is reflecting while the outer surface is reflecting. The third point would be that a concave mirror mostly, we will not use the word always, it will mostly form a real and inverted image, because there is one case where it forms a virtual and erect image. Children, we'll be doing it as we proceed further, but this mirror always mostly forms a real and inverted image, while a convex mirror forms a virtual and erect image always. Okay. You can say that a concave mirror is a converging mirror. Okay, I'll come to it. What is the meaning of the word converging? While a convex mirror is a diverging mirror. Okay, this is one point of differentiation. And you can say, you can also differentiate them on the basis of their uses. A concave mirror is used as a shaving mirror, while a convex mirror is used as a rear view mirror. Okay, so you can at least you can differentiate between the two on the basis of their uses, on the basis of their properties, and also on the basis of which surface is polished and which is reflecting, children. So now, after I have introduced the two mirrors to you, I will come to the point that why is concave called a converging mirror and why is convex called a diverging mirror. Just have a careful look, children. I am first drawing the concave mirror. You can see that this is a concave mirror which I have drawn, and I will draw a straight line which is called as the principal axis which passes through it. Now when I take two parallel rays up and two parallel rays down, when parallel rays of light strike a concave mirror, this is a concave mirror, children. So you can see that parallel rays of light are striking this mirror. After striking, these rays will all converge at a point. You can see here all these rays. This is a property of a concave mirror, that when parallel rays of light strike a concave mirror, they after striking they reflect back and they converge at one particular point. So that is why a concave mirror is known as a converging mirror. Understood, children? While in case of convex, now let's look at what happens in convex mirror. Now here I have drawn a convex mirror. Children, you can see that I have polished it from inside, and I have drawn the principal axis, and again here also I am taking parallel rays of light which are striking this particular mirror. Okay, children, now when these parallel rays of light are striking, you can see that the rays of light actually what happens, they diverge out in different directions. The rays of light will diverge out. Actually, they only appear to meet at the point. They don't actually meet. Okay, children, just have a comparison. This is a convex mirror. That's why I've drawn both together so that you can have a clear-cut comparison between the two. A concave mirror, when parallel rays of light are striking this particular mirror, they all after reflection meet at the point. While in case of a convex mirror, when parallel rays of light strike the mirror, they appear to meet at a point, but actually they diverge out in different directions, and therefore we say that a convex mirror is a diverging mirror while a concave mirror is a converging mirror. So this is a converging mirror and convex is a diverging mirror. I want you to have a very careful look, children, at both these aspects of a concave and convex, and after this I move on to the different definitions which are related to a concave and a convex mirror. In order to understand the different definitions, I will again draw the hollow glass sphere, and I will cut out the two surfaces as I told you. Polish this from outside, polish this from inside, and here I have taken a center point through which a line passes. This is known as, I will just note down the different things which I have to discuss. I have to discuss pole, I have to discuss center of curvature one by one. I will discuss all these definitions. Then radius of curvature. I will be discussing radius of curvature. Then I will be discussing principal axis. Principal axis. Okay, children. Now let's pick up one by one the different definitions which are related to these mirrors. I move on to the first one. I told you that this is a hollow glass sphere, and I've I have cut the two edges. This side you can see I have made a concave mirror, and on the other side I have polished it from inside, so this side is a convex. Now, first is the pole. What do you mean by pole? It is the geometric center. You can see this is the surface of the concave mirror, while this is the surface of the convex mirror. The rough center, both the mirrors have a center point. Okay, that center, the geometric center of the mirrors is known as its pole, and it is denoted by capital P. It is denoted by capital P. Now let us look at the second definition. That is center of curvature, which is denoted by capital C. What is center of curvature? It is the center of the sphere. I repeat, center of curvature is the center of the sphere of which the mirrors are a part. The mirrors are a part of a sphere, and the center of that sphere is known as center of curvature, and it is denoted by capital C. What is radius of curvature? You can see this part, children, I have highlighted it. This part is called the radius of curvature. So I say radius of curvature, which is denoted by capital R, is the radius of the sphere. It is the radius of the sphere of which the mirrors are a part. So radius of curvature is the radius of the sphere. It could be this also, children. It could be this also. Right? So both this from the center of curvature to the pole. Can you see the distance between center of curvature and pole? The distance between center of curvature and pole, that is known as the radius of curvature of the mirrors. Then we move on to principal axis. You can see this line which joins. You can see a straight line which is passing. You can see the straight line. So you will say principal axis is a line which joins the center of curvature to the pole of the mirror. The straight line which passes through the center of curvature and the pole of both the mirrors is known as the principal axis, and it has no shorthand notation. Like you saw that for pole it is P, for center of curvature we denote it by C, for radius of curvature we denote it by R. So principal axis has no such denotion. Okay children, so here I have introduced 1, 2, 3, 4 definitions to you. One is the pole, that is the, let's look at it once again. Pole is the geometric center of the two mirrors, which is denoted by capital P. Center of curvature is the center of the sphere of which the mirrors are a part, denoted by capital C. Radius of curvature is the radius of the spheres of which the mirror is a part, denoted by capital R. And the straight line joining or passing through the pole and the center of curvatures of the mirror is known as principal axis. There is one more definition to go, children, and that is aperture. That is aperture. Now what is aperture of the mirror? It is the surface. You can see starting from here till here is that surface of the mirror on which light could be incident. Here in this case the aperture is right beginning from here and going down to this part. Similarly over here it is from here to this part over here. So the surface of the mirror on which light could be incident is known as its aperture, and it also does not have any shorthand notation. Okay children, so there are 5 definitions which you have to keep in mind, and you should also be able to identify these points on the diagram. That's why I have supported these points with the help of a diagram. Okay children, one is the pole, that is the rough geometric center. Then is the center of curvature, which is in the center of the sphere. Then is the radius of the curvature, line which is joining the pole and the center of curvature. Principal axis, straight line passing through the pole and the center of curvature. And finally the surface on which the incident ray can strike is the aperture. Okay children, after these 5 definitions children, we move on to the next topic, and that is in case of a concave mirror. Again I move on to that same diagram children which I had drawn before. I quickly draw the diagram for you. You remember this diagram children? I drew it when I was explaining you the converging action. You remember children? Just now I finished drawing this diagram. This is the converging action. Now I am coming to 2 more definitions children. One, principal focus. One, principal focus, which is denoted by capital F. Okay children, and the other one is focal length. The other one is focal length, which is denoted by small f. Okay, now I first pick up concave. You can see this is a concave mirror children. You know it. Why is it concave? Number one, it is polished from outside. Number two, it is converging. Now look at how do I define principal focus. Just listen very carefully and simultaneously look at the diagram. I say principal focus. You can see this point children where all the rays are meeting. That point is known as the principal focus. So you say principal focus is a point. Principal focus is a point lying on the principal axis at which the parallel rays of light meet after getting reflected. I repeat, principal focus for a concave mirror is a point lying on the principal axis at which parallel rays of light meet after reflection from the mirror, and it is denoted by capital F. And the distance between pole and focus, can you see this distance children? Distance between pole and focus, that is known as focal length, and it is denoted by small f. So what is focal length? It is the distance between the pole and the focus, pole and the principal focus. That distance is known as the focal length of the concave mirror. Okay children, this was for concave. Now let's move on to convex mirror children. I will draw the convex mirror for you. See, this is the convex mirror. I will take two parallel rays here. This is the principal axis and two parallel rays down. I have already shown you this diagram. I am drawing it once again. Okay, here this is the diverging action. I showed it to you. Okay, fine. Now I come to the same principal focus and focal length once again for convex. Okay, now what is principal focus for convex? It is a point lying on the principal axis at which the parallel rays of light appear to meet. Remember, in convex we are using the word appear to meet. In concave we were saying they actually meet. That is the difference. Okay children? So we say it is a point lying on the principal axis at which the parallel rays of light appear to meet after reflection from the mirror. Once again, what is principal focus for convex mirror? This is convex mirror children. It is a point lying on the principal axis at which the parallel rays of light appear to meet after reflection from the mirror. And what is the focal length? Of course, it is the distance between the pole and the focus. The distance between the pole and the focus of the mirror is known as its focal length. Okay children, so in all we discussed 7 definitions. 7. What were the 7 definitions we discussed with regard to the concave and convex mirror? The first one was, I discussed with you pole. Second was center of curvature. Third was radius of curvature. Okay children. Fourth was aperture. And fifth was the principal axis. These 5 were the general definitions related to concave and convex. And 2 were very specific. One, the principal focus, which was denoted by capital F. They was different for concave and it is different for convex. With the help of diagram, I showed it to you. And one was focal length, which is denoted by small f. And here I would like to tell you one more thing. There is a special relation between radius of curvature and focal length, and it says that radius of curvature is twice the focal length, or we can say that the focal length is half of the radius of curvature. Okay children, so you should know this relation between the focal length and the radius of curvature of the mirror. Okay, after I discussed the different definitions with you for concave and convex, we move on to the rules. You know, for concave and convex, as I told you children, that concave is a converging mirror and convex is a diverging mirror. Now we move on a step further. You know, we are going to discuss what type of images will be formed by a concave or a convex mirror, and there are different cases under it. and they are known as ray diagrams. In order to understand the ray diagrams related to concave and convex, children, you need to know the rules. We use some rules to draw these ray diagrams, and those rules I am going to introduce to you in the next class. After we finish with the rules, then we are going to apply these rules to draw the different ray diagrams related to concave and convex mirrors. So what I want you to do is that you will go through the information related to concave and convex mirrors which I taught today. You will go through the different definitions. You will also you have also to know or to draw and learn the diagram of converging and diverging action of both the mirrors. Okay, and then whatever doubts you will have, we will have it in our interactive class. We will discuss it over, and in the next class we begin with the rules for the ray diagrams and definitely the ray diagrams. Thank you very much.